Hey everyone, today we're going to be lowering my F90 M5 with these lowering springs, and I'm going to show you in detail how to do it because I couldn't find a video like that online. Every video out there just fast forwards through everything. If you want to know the detail, this is the video for you to see. And this video is not to debate what's better, lowering springs, height adjustable suspension, full set of coilovers. Today I just want to show you how to do it. Every product and tool I'm going to link down in the description. There's a couple of things you need to do to prep the vehicle. Starting with disconnecting the battery, lift up the cover, unhook the negative terminal, put a towel under it just in case it gets reconnected. And then in the front, we've got a couple of these plastics that we need to remove. And this install will be done using common hand tools that you can find in your garage. In the engine bay, unhook these plastics. This simply removes. Then grab your trim removal tool, remove this rivet here, and there's another one located on this side. Then remove the cap, which reveals the sensor. You squeeze it and it comes out. Ugh, it wasn't pleasant. So now we're going to remove these plastics. This allows you to remove this middle piece. There we go, you pull this away. Next, in the back, we have to remove some of the trim here to access the rear towers. And next, we have to remove this piece. Instructions call for grabbing it here and yanking it. There we go. And then guide it away as such. Then we can fold this seat. Instructions call for removal of this bottom seat, but I don't think it's necessary. You're gonna repeat the same process on the other side, and then we get to the trunk to unclip this top part. Before we get underneath, there's a couple of these rivets here that you have to remove. And then in the trunk, you've got 1, 2, 3 8mm screws that you have to remove. Don't tell me I don't care about you. So now this whole shelf should come out. There's a speaker wire here that you need to disconnect. Same thing on the other side. It connects directly into the speaker. And then there's another connector here that you simply disconnect. Next we have to remove the seat belt. 2 10mm bolts and a T50 Torx driver. Then you lift it and it slides out. And then this allows me to lift this whole assembly up, which reveals the strut tower access. A couple of things we have to do in preparation for the front. So you lift up the car. In my case, I also have my ESCO jack just to give it an extra support. So I've got double protection in case this fails. There's another backup down there. Obviously, I removed the wheel. I also removed the air boxes, and removing the air boxes is pretty straightforward. You remove the metal bracket, unclip the clamp, and you pull it out. This allows me to get to a piece which is not included in the manual, but I found out that actually if you remove the upper wishbone, it actually makes the install a lot easier. In a nutshell, these are all the things we have to remove. 1, 2, 3 strut tower bolts. There's also one in the middle there. As we move inside, we're going to be undoing this upper wishbone. We're going to be unclipping these. We're going to be removing the end link. And as you scroll down, we're also going to be removing this piece, which holds the whole strut together. And then we should be able to swivel it out and pull it out. E14 and a 14mm to remove it. Then pop off this leveling sensor off of the wishbone. Then use this 18mm to remove the end link. Because the car is only lifted on one side, there's pressure on the sway bar, which is preventing me from removing the end link. So all you have to do is grab another jack and jack up the suspension to a point. There you go. Next, you want to prevent this whole assembly from swiveling out because you don't want to damage the axle. So the instructions call for some sort of a bungee cord or something just to kind of keep it in place as you maneuver this whole section. Next, we're going to remove this bottom assembly, 21 on one side and 18 on the other. And this should come out pretty easily if you just lift and lower the suspension, even by hand. There you go. With the second jack applying pressure from the bottom, you can now remove these 3 16mm. And doing so allows us to now lower it and wiggle it a little bit because you need to remove the wishbone. You cannot remove the wishbone until this strut is loosened up, and now you can get in with a 16 here and a 16 there. Oh, one thing you have to pay attention to is, see how it's level? There's tension that it's preset. So when you tighten it, make sure it's tightened at the same tension. And you see when you loosen it up, it kind of drops. So I put my hand in there, and that's how I'm going to remember to install it when it's time to reinstall it. This is what it looks like. And there's the same one on this side, except you have to pay attention because this is the nut that goes on top of the bolt. So you might want to hold it on this side with another 16, otherwise it'll keep spinning. And this allows you to remove the upper wishbone. Now here inside, let's unclip some cables. This one, and this one. Now get ready for some fun. With a spring compressor, install it here and compress the spring. I understand it's hard to see, it's tight in here, but next step is you grab a towel and you put it over the axle to prevent any unnecessary scratching. Believe it or not, this is what the instructions call for. And essentially, you now want to slide it out, and let me zoom it out. You should be able to pull it down and swivel the strut out of the car. There we go. You push it down and it will come out. And it's out. So with the whole assembly being out, and by the way, you see, you don't have to remove this. This whole thing comes out. Take your other spring compressor. Then you take your trusted strut bolt tool. Essentially what it is it's the socket that's got a cutout in here, because the way to remove this one is you have to undo it while you hold the 10 mil in place so the whole assembly is not spinning. So check this out. Just keep doing it until it comes out. This is what it looks like. Put it here. We can take out this assembly, put it here, because we can take this spring out and put the new spring in. Make sure it's got an F here. F stands for the front. Make sure it's seated properly. There's a little notch here, a little seat where it's supposed to be seated. And then just put the top back on. With that in place, we're going to remove the spring compressors, put them onto the new spring, compress it so we can tighten this bolt again. And then you tighten the top the same way you loosened it up. But before you do it, just make sure the spring is seated properly here. See, so it's got to be seated here and it needs to be seated there. This can always spin, so you don't have to worry about that. If everything goes well, I should be able to simply slide it in. So here we go. I press on this assembly here. There we go. So now we're gonna put everything back together. Simple. First step being the upper wishbone. Again, the strut has to be loose because you want to be able to put this guy through in the back. So you put the wishbone in and tighten it. And as you're about to tighten it all the way, and again, it's only one side, the other one is still empty, lift it up and get ready to tighten it, because we're going to squeeze the bushing. There we go. I'm not gonna lie, I will not torque this to spec. I don't know what spec is, and it will be impossible for me to get a torque wrench in there, but it was tightened just enough. Next, we're gonna attach the shock to the strut tower because it's easy to kind of maneuver it. Next, this bottom bolt, it's easy to put it back in. It adjusts by hand. And tighten it to spec. And once again, use my brilliant idea to put the end link back in place. And then again, use my jack method to lift up the suspension and put the upper wishbone back in. Now we can release the pressure. Let's tuck all the wires back where they were. Undo the bungee cord. So let's pop this leveling sensor back in place. And now we can drop it down. So we could be putting things back together, but before we do that, let's do a while we're here mod. I was gonna do a separate video for these drop-in performance filters, but it's such an easy DIY, we might as well use it as an intermission before we jump to the back. Essentially, what you have to do is, you have a T25, remove these guys. At the same time, we're also going to be removing the charcoal filter. So this is the charcoal filter. Essentially, we're just gonna yank it out. And this is the stock air filter. We're gonna put in this lovely drop-in one, tighten everything, and put everything back together. And just like that, the front is fully put together. Now, if you don't know how to do it, might as well watch the intro in reverse. Ha! Always wanted to say that. Anyways, this was super easy to put back together. Obviously, all the plastics, all the rivets and stuff like that. Front is done. Time to tackle the back. I'm so happy I got started with the front because the back is a lot easier. There's one tricky part towards the end, and I have a cool trick that I'm going to show you how to do. Before we get started, again, I jacked up the car. I have my backup tripod down there just in case this guy fails. There's a couple of things we have to do. We have to undo the strut tower bolt, but before we do that, we have to remove the liner. We also have to unplug some harnesses and start undoing the strut. So first order of business is to remove this cover, which is held using these 10 mil and a couple of 8 mils down at the bottom. Also, first thing we need to do is remove my TLG mud flaps. If you don't know about TLG mud flaps, I custom make these mostly for BMWs, but other makes and models as well. These things help to protect the side of your car from getting sandblasted and all of that. They work very, very well. Look up TLG mud flaps and you'll get the idea. This is the prototype. By the time you watch this video, I will have final versions ready for production, so you can email me and I can set you up with a set. So now that they're off, we've got a bunch of 8 mils and 10 mils all the way throughout. You essentially take it off these little guiding pins and you slide it down. Then on top of the shock, you need to unclip the sensor. It simply unclips and there's a little clip you have to remove. Next, you grab a 13 mil, but you need one of those deep sockets, and undo these 3 strut bolts, 1, 2, 3. And now the only thing that's holding this strut, believe it or not, is this 18 mil that we have to undo. But once we undo it, the suspension is going to jump up and this is going to collapse down. So put a towel down here at the bottom so you don't unnecessarily scratch anything and make a lot of noise. Don't get discouraged, this is really long. This is how long it is. And I can easily remove the strut. The 2 things here. Take a picture of how this cable is positioned. You want to put it back the same way, but essentially this thing slides out, and just like the front, you just kind of yank it out. This exposes yet again that strut nut, which we have to undo. Whoa. We almost got ahead of ourselves. Next is we have to compress the spring. That would have been quite interesting. Spring is loose. We can continue undoing this nut. And now let's remove this, put it aside. It's time to remove this spring. We're going to decompress it. And we're gonna grab the new spring, and I just see how it sits here. And obviously we have to compress it. And now we can put the top back on, tighten this nut. Now that it's tightened, let's position the spring. Let's uncompress it. Before we forget, let's install this wiring harness. And now we're ready to put it back in the car. So again, here it's going to be hard for me to show what I'm doing, but essentially I'm putting the strut back into its holes up top, and here you want to put in the holes, but now you've got to hold it up and then you got to go in the car. So technically you need a helper, but if you grab one of these sockets, you just put it up here. It's the perfect length to hold it temporarily while you tighten the top. And now, since the suspension is a lot higher than the strut, you need to push it while trying to insert the strut in. If it doesn't work, I have another idea, but let's give it a try. 1, 2, yeah. Oof. You saw what I did. With one arm, I was pushing it in. With the other arm, I was pulling the strut inside. The other method involved putting a jack underneath and jacking up the strut itself. With the strut tightened, the only thing left for us here is to reconnect the sensor. Let's plug it back in, push it in, and then hang the bracket right here. And just like that, the wheel liner is back on, the mud flap is back on. This is all tightened up. I'm gonna clean it up. But now we're gonna put the wheel back on and lower the vehicle. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna focus on putting everything here back together. But again, putting it back together is reverse of removing it, so you get the idea. And then hopefully, if it's not too late, it's almost 1 a.m. But I'm gonna drive out, come back in, and see what it looks like. Okay, I know this is not going to be visible now, but I see it, and this is perfect for what I wanted. It's going to settle a little bit in the back and in the front, but for my family needs, this is absolutely perfect. Every single tool and piece of equipment and springs that I used in this video, I'm going to link down in the description. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I usually try to answer every single one of them. But yeah, let me know what you think of this. For me, it's perfect for daily driving, but I'm curious to hear what you have to say. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Bye-bye. This is just a reminder how terrible GoPro is. I'm using GoPro 11 and it keeps overheating, keeps freezing. It happens all the time, no matter what you do. They had 11 generations to improve the camera, but it seems like ever since GoPro 4, things have been going down. So if you have any suggestions for portable cameras that require little maintenance and have microphone inputs, let me know.